look at this sequence in full, and then I'll break it down. So I'm going to be here still. And so the thing we went over before. So this time he's going to spin all the way around. So let's break this down a little bit. Okay, so if he wants to have the back of his knee facing at my hips in terms of hiding his heel, what would be then the optimal situation for me in terms of, again, just exposing the heel? It would be having my hips face the front of the knee, right? So if we see here, the back of the knee, so you guys look at his knee, which part of his knee is pointed towards my hips? It's the back of his knee, right? So if I were to go here, and then he rotates, and this way, and I'll tell you when to stop, keep going. Okay, stop right here. Guys, look at where his hips are facing, his knee is facing. It faces into my hips. So what does that do? Look, he cannot hide his heel. He cannot hide his heel. There's no way. Now, here's the thing though. If I'm here and I have this heel hook, he cannot hide his heel, but if I don't have a grip at the knee, he's just gonna pull his leg out. Your legs in this situation, it's pretty hard to just hold on to the leg here. Now, if you have it really deep like this, you've kind of got like a knee bar, you could do it. But that's not what was happening. What was happening was we were here and he's rotating defensively. He's rotating defensively this way. It's not like you were in a deep knee bar already, right? And he's also probably gonna be taking this foot and putting it on like my butt. And then, so keep turning and put, yep, good, and now pull out. Yes, that's most likely what's gonna be happening, right? So there have to be two things going through your mind. The first is, okay, we wanna allow him, he's spinning to defend. We couldn't catch him with those earlier sequences, so this time we're gonna allow him to spin so he puts himself into a situation where the front of his knee faces our hips. But that's not the end of it. We have to also have something in place to prevent him from pulling the knee out of my knee line, okay? And what we're gonna do with that is just have my hand here. This hand, previously the goal was to go behind his knee to pull back this way. Now I'm gonna let my fingers go to here. It's a much looser grip. And the goal is no longer to like pull his knee this way. The goal is now to just position my my wrist and my hand as a wedge against his knee coming out of my knee line. All right, so if you guys look at, let's just focus on what my right hand does for a second. So he's gonna rotate, and he keeps going. See how I hold that? And I allow it to, let's go back. I allow it to glide around the leg. If you take your fingers and you just clamp them, you're not doing this right. You have to let him move around, so let's just move very slow. Look at how he keeps moving. And let's go back. So just to focus on the hand, he moves. But I have something in front of the knee. I'm just trying to prevent the knee from, bring your knee towards your face. I'm just trying to prevent that. I'm trying to prevent his ability to pull his knee in that direction. So from the beginning again, so it's here as he goes. See how I kind of let it glide? But look, I still have that there. Does that make sense? Like, he can pull it a little bit, right? But not all the way. If he goes like a turtle almost. If I'm here, I have nothing. He's gonna pull that knee, especially in conjunction with this foot pushing on like my butt. He's gonna get his knee out most likely, okay? So you do have this really strong angle to expose the heel, but you can't hold the heel, right? You don't have anything in place to do that. So let's go back. So I'm here. When I feel, okay, he's going. Like, I can't stop that. I'm gonna take this leg and go, let's go back one step. Don't keep your foot inside position, okay? In inside position, I should say. Don't keep it here. So I'm gonna let my foot come out, and I'm gonna take this foot on the floor and turn my hips. Then I come back to the triangle, and it's okay to keep this loose. It's my right hand that's gonna keep his knee from coming out. And I catch the heel. A lot of the time, they're not gonna realize what happened until it's too late. They're gonna keep spinning, and then they're gonna land, and you have a heel hook. But when he does it, and I let him just go, and I just make sure I don't lose the knee, you can catch the heel. And you can catch the heel, understand the reason you're catching the heel is because he is moving his leg in such a way that he's essentially rotating like 360 degrees, right? He's taking himself from a spot where the back of the knee faces the hips, then he rotates, but then he rotates too much, and the front of his knee faces your hips, and then he keeps rotating because in his mind he's thinking, okay, I've got to rotate all the way. I've got to get out of bounds, right? Like tactically, I think a lot of the time is what people are trying to do, right? Go out of bounds, and then you reset, and then you argue with the ref. Ref, no, he didn't have the heel. Look, we were here, like, you know, whatever, right? And the ref gets annoyed and he stands you both up, right? So tactically, that's what a lot of people are trying to do, right? Let's go back here. We can use that instinct his instinct is to spin as hard as he can that way. We can use that instinct to our advantage, kind of let him go with our legs. Just hold on to here, and hold on to here in a way that, again, it's still like, don't squeeze. If I'm here, guys, if I just clamp my hand in place and I squeeze, that is what I was doing before. But if I do that now, what's gonna happen is this. Even if I take my legs out, spin, I'm gonna go with him. And I never get an adjustment of the angle of my hips and his knee, right? So let's go back. So you can't clamp onto him. You gotta kind of just look, the whole thing you're trying to do with your arm, all I want you guys to focus on is just preventing the knee from going that way. He wants to bring the knee that way, ultimately, right? This hand here, you let the hand go around the thigh, but you keep just enough tension that you can keep the arm here in front of the knee, right? Does that make sense? I feel like this is a little bit confusing, but does this make sense to you guys? Please be honest. If it doesn't make sense, tell me. Okay, all right, good. So we're here. When the leg rotates, you keep this way, keep going. And look, he's gonna present that heel to me because of the angle of his knee. So let's go back. I call this the knee bar theory of heel exposure. So, for instance, Fabricio Andre recently at Brazilian trials, there was a really cool match example. He shot his hips up into a knee bar. He had the knee bar, but he had the arm here. So it was like the heel was there. The guy backstepped to defend the knee bar, but then put himself into a heel hook. This is the same concept, right? Where it's kind of like he's in a sort of like a loose knee bar. And now we just let him keep going. I maintain the grip on the knee, and now we're here, we're ready to finish. This is very, very strong to finish now. Okay, makes sense, guys? So let's go back, and let's look at one more detail. Another thing to keep in mind is that sometimes when we go for this, as he goes, keep going, let's stop right here. Okay, we catch the heel, he might take this leg, instead of going on our butt, he might push at the crook of our knee here. Yeah, so if I'm here, he spins all the way around. Okay, now we've got him, but it's not ideal to finish. So what are we gonna do? Let's go back one step. When we feel that there, we have a couple different options. I can take this leg and thread through, and now when he goes, I've got this foot here, and I can try to go outside far, go to outside Senkaku, or I can try to pummel inside to go to outside Senkaku. That's gonna come down to what he does with his leg. You gotta kind of like, as you wave your leg around, he's gonna follow in certain ways, and you gotta try to find an opening. You can go here, or it can go wide. Another option is, let's go back. Another option is we're here. Keep going. I can push here at the back of the hamstring, go here, and then shoot both over here. Okay, so I did this recently against a really good Malaysian grappler at ADCC Singapore. So let's go back. So instead of going through here, see how it goes through his hips? That's definitely a good option. But the weakness of that now is he can still track my leg. I'm not blocking his ability to track my leg. But if I go here, look, when he goes to track my leg, I can push. So let's go back. When he tries to use that leg to follow this leg, I can use my left leg to push. Now when he goes to reach for this, he can't quite reach it, I can go over. And now we lock our legs here. The weakness of this is it's definitely not as strong of a finish. Okay, this is called the Russian Ashi. Craig Jones had this against Mateus Vutesh at Polaris many years ago. And it was tight, but it wasn't quite enough to finish. What I try to do when I get here, you hold on to him, you go for the finish. A lot of people will tap. If he doesn't tap, you can open up your hand, post here, and try to get inside, and now you have a stronger finish. Okay, so we're here, right? If you can. Or just tried to finish him here. I ultimately was able to get the Malaysian guy from here. Okay, this is still a strong position, you know, but if he wants to relieve the pressure of this, he's probably gonna have to do something with this leg. He keeps his legs tight like this. Probably he's not gonna get out. So you have to do something where he opens up. When he opens up, you can find ways to get inside. Okay, does that make sense, guys? There's a lot of details here, I know. So let's go back. If you're lost, like, feel free, call me over, and I will do my best to help. So here, he rotates. Okay, we've caught the heel. Let's stop here. If he just keeps going, just keep going, back step. Bang, perfect. He just gave that to me. Let's go back. But if he does realize what happened, he might think, yep, he might go there. I'm gonna go here, and then we go like this. Okay, does every part of this make sense, guys? Okay, good. Let's give this a try. 1, 2, 3.